What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for episode 2. Today I want to talk about temperature, humidity, and more importantly, dew point. So I'm here in Minnesota, and it has been on a hot streak here, and we've had a drought within Minnesota this spring and now after the midsummer. So why does temperature, humidity, and dew point matter? Well, let's think about this. We all know that air temperatures speed up products. Whether it's an epoxy, a polyurea, or polyaspartics, the warmer it is, the faster it's going to cure. But let's break it down independently, okay? Polyureas and polyaspartics are more moisture driven, where the dew point and the humidity make a bigger factor. Air-driven moisture, humidity play a big factor in how those cure. But most importantly, when you guys are installing floors, dew point and slab temperature play a big factor. So we all know, if you've been in the game long enough, you've played meteorologist multiple times. Is it going to rain tomorrow? Is it going to rain in the next couple hours? Should I base? Should I grind? Am I going to flake? Am I going to top coat? We've all played the game. But most important is prep and adhesion to the concrete. Now, doesn't matter if you're using an epoxy or a polyurea or a polyaspartic base coat, this all applies to the same chemistry, if you will. Dew point and slab temperature, okay? If you do not have an infrared laser gun when you guys are installing and shooting your slabs, you're wrong. You need to buy an infrared gun and be shooting your slab temperatures every single time after you grind, while you're vacuuming, before you put your base coat down, regardless of whatever product you're putting down, because that is going to play a very big factor compared to the air temperature and the humidity. So why does dew point matter? Well, dew point is technically condensation, right? Think about pulling your pop can out of the fridge on a warm day. It starts sweating. Concrete does the exact same thing. As it gets warmer, the concrete opens up, especially after we've ground it, and then the humidity or the air essentially starts attacking it. Dew point essentially means what number it is that the air physically can't hold water anymore and becomes a physical rain or water droplet, and it attacks to whatever surface it is. And since concrete is such a porous surface, it happens more common in these warmer, more humid days. We're going to wake up and we're going to start grinding at 8 o'clock. We're going to, open up those pores at 9 o'clock. It starts becoming warmer and warmer. The humidity in the air starts attacking the concrete, which creates a dew point and creates condensation on your product or on the concrete. Why is this such a problem? Well, if you use a polyurea, that bonds to moisture. So therefore, that technically doesn't have a chance to penetrate or maybe sit on the surface. Same with a polyaspartic. Now, if you use an epoxy base coat, which is a longer cure, more of a wetting mechanical bond, it physically can't get in the pores because there's water, dust on the surface that's stopping that. So the general rule of thumb of 99.9% of all manufacturers out there is the temperature and the dew point have to be a minimum of 5 degrees separation. And you're always going to hear, always coat when the temperature is falling. Well, that's not realistic in real life. But if you guys have your slab temp and your dew point at a minimum of 5 degrees less than your temperature, you're going to be okay. Again, general thumb, if you're grinding and you ever see dark spots, condensation, moisture, your dust sticks, your mender doesn't bond, that's your point where you guys got to stop. So remember, have an infrared thermometer. Honestly, get a hygrometer, which measures your humidity and your dew point, and keep track of all of this because it probably matters for warranty. And more importantly, it matters to the customer because you are putting down a lifetime coating. Not a lifetime warranty, but you're putting down a coating that matters, that should be bonded for the lifetime of that fucking floor. So don't cheat your customer. Do the prep and be the professional and put down the products that matter and give them the floor that they deserve. Pay attention to temperature of the floor, humidity, and dew point, and give them the floor they deserve. If you guys have questions on this, drop those comments down below. But please like and share this so everybody in the industry has a good understanding of what to do with temperature and humidity. I appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next one.